All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? We're going to explore this really powerful idea today. How to shift our whole mindset from, just hoping for a lucky break to actually actively building the life that we want. It's all about trading that lottery ticket for a blueprint.
Wow. I mean, this quote, it just paints a whole picture in one sentence, doesn't it? This isn't really about gambling. It's about a ritual, a habit, that little moment of hope that I think a lot of us can understand. It's the perfect place for us to start.
So let me introduce you to Patricia. She's a 53-year-old home health aide, and for 11 straight years, she had this little Tuesday morning ritual. Now, it wasn't some kind of addiction. The source material calls it a small ceremony of possibility. It was just a $2 ticket she'd buy when life felt, well, a little too tight. But here's the thing, and this is what's so fascinating. Patricia was actually super disciplined with her money. She tracked every single penny, had zero debt. That little scratch-off ticket, it was just a tiny leak in the boat, but it revealed something way bigger. This deep, unconscious belief that her only real way out, her only escape route, was a random stroke of luck. And Patricia's story isn't just about her. It really taps into this huge cultural story we're all told. We get fed this constant diet of overnight success stories, right? We see the before, the struggling musician, and then we see the after, the millionaire. But what about all that stuff in the middle? The work? We never see that.
And this is the great disconnect. The story we're sold is all about sudden, dramatic, luck-based events. But the way wealth is actually built, it's gradual, it's quiet, and it's based on thousands of tiny little decisions. Sure, it's not as exciting to watch, but here's the kicker. It's so much more in our control.
So this brings us to the real problem, what the source material calls the lottery mindset. And listen, it's not just about buying lottery tickets. It's that feeling of holding your breath, right? Just waiting for that promotion or for some opportunity to fall out of the sky and save you. It's a posture of waiting. So if that's the trap, how in the world do you get out of it? Well, it starts by completely changing the goal. The idea of a jackpot, it's not wrong. We've just been looking for it in all the wrong places. This right here, this is the core idea, the single most important sentence from the source material. Just let it sink in. The jackpot isn't some event you wait around for, it's a structure you create, piece by piece, day after day. Okay, that sounds great, but how does it work in the real world? Well, lasting change, it doesn't really come from a new budgeting app or some quick fix. It comes from a shift in your identity. It's about making that quiet, repeated decision to become someone who builds. And there's a simple 3-stage framework for this. First, you've got to see the trap for what it is, this trap of waiting for luck. Second, you just start acting, small daily decisions. And third, you let all those little actions compound and build their own unstoppable momentum. Okay, now this is my favorite part. This is where the whole concept gets super real and honestly kind of mind-blowing. Let's look at the actual numbers behind that second step, the daily decision. Let's circle all the way back to Patricia and her $2 ticket. What if, instead of buying that scratch-off, she had invested that money, just $2 a day? What could happen? Check this out. Over 40 years, with an average 7% return, that simple, tiny swap could become over $113,000. That's not a lucky win. That is a jackpot she would have built herself. Now, let's scale it up to a habit that maybe a few more of us have. What about that daily cup of coffee from the fancy shop? Let's call it about $6 a day. Are you ready for this? That $6 daily habit, compounded over that same time frame, could build a jackpot of around $340,000. You can start to feel how that momentum really picks up, right? And for our last example, let's look at a common lunch habit, swapping, say, a $12 daily fast food meal for a lunch you packed at home. And this is where it gets just staggering. That $12 choice, repeated every day, can compound into a jackpot of approximately $680,000. Over $500,000 built from one quiet choice. It's incredible. When you just see it all laid out like this in a simple table, it just clicks. It drives the point home so clearly. Each rung on this ladder is a different daily choice, but the principle behind it is exactly the same. This isn't magic. It's just math, identity, and time, all working together. So, we've seen the myth, we've talked about the mindset shift, and we've looked at the incredible math. Now there's really only one thing left to do, and that's to turn the lens on ourselves. The very first step always starts with just noticing. And so I'll leave you with the same central question from the source material. And look, this isn't about judgment, it's about honest awareness. Where are you holding your breath, waiting for something outside of you to come and change things? Because answering that question, that's the first step to stop waiting and to start building.